Hey everyone, this is Rachel, and today I'm here with a new scrapbooking process video. Thanks so much for joining me here, and I hope you enjoy. If you could flick me a thumbs up, that would be super awesome, and I would love it if you would become a subscriber. You can also click on the notification bell so you always know when I have a new video up. Alright folks, let's get going! Hey everyone, I am back. I am trying to catch up with some of the collabs that I had agreed to do and then kind of had to back off. If you watched my last video, you know I was diagnosed with an illness, and I'm just trying to truck my way through scrapbooking, making videos when I can, and just trying to stay quiet if I can't. Now, For the Love of Crafting and Sharing is a monthly collab with a bunch of different YouTubers with all different styles. I will go ahead and link everyone below. This was supposed to be up on May 20th. I mentioned in my last video, I am super duper late going up with things, but this is one I really wanted to do this month. The idea with being May is being Floral Frenzy. So there are a couple of designers and or manufacturers I think of when I think of florals, Maggie Holmes being one of them, Paige Evans being another, and then the third, which is the one I am working with, and that is Felicity Jane. So I never subscribed to Felicity Jane, but what I would do was occasionally when she was having a sale, I would buy any old kits or any old paper packs and just use them with the embellishments I had in my own stash. So what I have here, I pulled out a bunch of the floral papers. Nothing automatically goes together, but I just wanted to give myself some options. I did go ahead, I had a scrap of this floral paper actually here. I had a smaller scrap of that. And what I did was I just went out and fussy cut just in case. If I don't use it now, I'll definitely use it on another layout. I pulled out some embellishments. I thought that might work. And then I also went into my stash and pulled out a couple of embellishments from Pink Fresh Studio, Let Your Heart Decide, and Be You, because they also have florals in a lot of the same tones that I'm thinking about using for this layout. Another thing I did was I went and pulled out a couple of thicker, both words and alphas, just to go ahead and keep everything right here where I can go ahead and scrap all at once rather than getting up and going around. As I said, I have been diagnosed with cancer, and I do want to give a huge shout out and thank you to all of those who watched my last video, who commented. I promise I will comment back. I just haven't had a chance yet. Who thumbs up, who just sent me thoughts and prayers and best wishes and everything. I really, really appreciate it. Another reason that this is going on, you may not notice quite the difference, but rather than scrapbooking standing up in my normal area, I'm actually scrapbooking sitting down in my living room. I don't have quite as much energy, but I did feel that I wanted to scrapbook. So when I feel the urge to do that, I'm going to go ahead and do it because it is something I enjoy. And I think sitting down, I'll just have my a little bit more energy to help me be happy. One other thing I will go ahead and mention, I'm going to be scrapbooking with limited supplies when I do scrapbook. I am actually, on top of everything else, I will be moving sometime in July. This is something that happened right before COVID came into play, where we were going to be an at-home status, and then after that I was then diagnosed with cancer. So it's a very stressful situation going on in my house. So I am in the process of packing up my scrap room. That is not something I am going to film. Perhaps I would have had I not gotten sick, but that is just not added stress I need right now. So I will be scrapbooking. I've pulled in, I'll show you, a little shoebox of just my most used tools. Other than that, I most likely won't be pulling in a ton. You won't be seeing a ton of mixed media from me right now. But today I am going to be making a double page layout, so that's going to be super fun. I will say once again, thank you guys so much for joining me here. If you can flick me a thumbs up, that would be super awesome. I will put in the description box below a link to all of the other ladies whom I'm sure you already watched all their videos, but there may be one or two who are new to you, so I will go ahead and add that. I'm going to go ahead, get you guys put on fast forward, so let's get going. All right, I'm going to put aside the embellishments and my alphas right now and just concentrate on the papers and the photos. Now, I happen to have two of these black and white sketchy flower papers, and I thought they might work well as a double page background. You know, obviously my other choice is that I'm going to show is just plain white cardstock, but I do decide in the end that I prefer the flowers with the idea of this month's For the Love of Crafting and Sharing being a flower frenzy. I really did want to bring flowers in several different ways. So not just flower paper, not just one type of flower, but different kinds of flowers. So I'm going to use a sketchy flower and a more formal flower and then a more modern flower. And just to me, that worked out really well. Now I'm going ahead and taking off all the branding strips. Now that dark teal piece of paper, that's also Felicity Jane. It is not cardstock. It is definitely pattern paper weight, but one really cool thing that she does is it's two-toned. So it's that dark teal on one side, and then the other side is a light aqua. So what I'm doing here is I'm trimming them in to 3-inch lengths, basically so I can stretch them behind another piece of paper and make it look like it's bigger than it actually is. That piece of paper is this really formal rose and teal paper. I love this paper, and I wasn't ever sure if I was going to be able to use it because it is so formal, but by mixing it with both the sketchy black and white floral and then another more modern floral I'm going to bring in, it definitely works quite well. Now I'm using the numbers on my self-healing mat to kind of line up because I want the left side of the page to match up with the right side of the page. And as I'm doing this, I realize, oh, if I use the other side with that aqua, that will bring in the same color that's in that more modern piece of paper that I fussy cut. You saw I pulled that in to see if it went together, and it absolutely did. And then to bring the black and white up into the front of the layout, I'm bringing in those branding strips. Now I'm going to cut away because I'm going to do the exact same thing with the other side of the double page layout. So now I've cut both, everything matches. There's just one little overhang on one of the sides, so I'm just going to go ahead and trim that off, and I'm super duper happy with how this center layer portion of my layout is going so far. So I lay it down because I'm unsure if I want it to stretch all 24 inches across or if I want to trim it down, and I do want to trim it down. Now when you jury rig, I guess, layers like this where you're stretching things behind, I always find the parts that don't match up the best are the ends. So rather than taking an inch off of one of each of the sides, I took a 1/2 inch off of both sides, and that way it gives each end a nice smooth edge. So I'm going ahead and starting to glue these down, and the first time I do it, I managed to do it crooked, of course. So I'm just going to line it up once again and go ahead and get it all right and tight. Then I'm going to do the same with the right hand side of the page, and I'm really happy with the way this turns out. I like how you've got the sketchy flower, you've got the formal flower, you've got the two tones but in that same bluey shade, so I'm giving myself a thumbs up. Now I'm starting to lay out my photos. I've got 6 photos, one of which is a 5x7. Now, right now, this vertical photo I'm placing, that and the 5x7, I'm going to end up flip-flopping what's higher and what's lower, simply because I want to create another symmetrical element in my layout. So I've pulled out the 3 pieces that I actually fussy cut 4 pieces, but I didn't know which one I was going to use. So I pulled those out and made basically where my 3 embellishment clusters are going to go. Now I've decided I'm going to double matte my photo that has both my nephew and my best friend very thinly. So you're not going to get an explosion of floral there. You're just going to get those same colors in the modern floral versus the darker color in the more formal floral. What I didn't like was the multicolor of one floral up against the multicolor of another floral. So I had this scrap piece of Felicity Jane paper with the little viney pieces on it, and I thought, oh, this would be perfect. Not only will it give a black and white to separate the 2 multicolors, but it also brings that black and white, that the background pieces, up onto the front, just like those branding strips do. So I really like the way that turned out. I'm going to go ahead and just glue down the rest of my photos. While I'm doing that, I will mention, as I said earlier, in the description box below is a link to all of the other ladies who are joining in this month's For the Love of Crafting and Sharing. As I said also, the other videos all came out on May 20th. I'm running behind due to illness, but if you haven't checked all of them out, you totally should. It's a lot of different types of scrapbookers, so you're going to get a lot of different ideas about how to use flowers, because not everyone uses flowers in the same way. I tend to go very flat, using mainly paper and maybe a puffy sticker or wood veneer. Some people are using stamps and cut files. Some people are using more artistic approaches where they're painting and stuff like that. So it's a really great way to have a common theme, but seen done in many, many different ways. So you'll see here, I decided to put the 5x7 in the upper right-hand corner, kind of to be symmetrical with the photo of my nephew and my best friend. And then I moved that vertical photo down, so I got that bi-level look. So not everything was running along the same straight line. And I'm using my ATG and then my clear art glitter clear glue with the precision tip, to using both of those to glue down the floral fussy cut pieces. I had to go ahead and replace my ATG, so that's what that cutaway was for. And I'm going ahead and just getting in with the liquid glue to those little places where the ATG doesn't fit. Tucking those behind the photos and creating where my embellishment clusters will end up. I do extend some of them and add a little bit here and there other than that. So, but those are where the main embellishment clusters are. So I pull out my embellishments, and I really was drawn towards that teal scallop piece, and once again it brings color into the more black and white area, and it's just a really great way to emphasize a line. And it's one of my favorite embellishments in those die cut packs from Felicity Jane. I decided before I start getting too crazy with the embellishments, I really should work on my title. I'm going to be using 2 different thicker sets. This one here, which is travel themed, and it's from either Crepe Paper or Vicky Boutin. I don't remember which, but I'm starting off with the word explore. And then I'm not exactly sure how I want to finish off my title, so I go back to embellishing. I go into the Pink Fresh Studio puffy stickers, I pull out this little wreath thing and I trim it apart, and I'm having the darndest time trying to tuck it under that teal paper, but I managed it finally. And then I'm putting the other piece that I trimmed off over on the left hand side. I am sorry, I'm a little pulled off on the left hand side there, so you can't see it exactly, but there are photos at the end where you can see what I did, which was basically just, you know, a half of a wreath. So I'm finishing off my title using those gold thickers to finish off my title being Explore the New Hood. I was still sick, so I could not go, but my housemate and my nephew went to a really gorgeous park that's right down the street from, or just a couple houses down from where our new house is going to be. So I did draw lines for journaling. I'm not going to journal on camera because I'm going to talk about our new neighborhood and put names and stuff in. And while 99.9% of you are awesome, super amazing people, that 0.01% of you are a little creepy. So I don't want to put that information out there. I'm adding puffy stickers, I'm adding wood veneer, all from the Pink Fresh Studio, and I'm finishing off this layout with some gold Heidi Swap Color Shine. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Don't forget to check out the YouTubers in the description box below, and once again, if you could flick me a thumbs up, that would be super awesome.